Hey everyone, this is Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment, and we're back again with our series that we like to call Was This Album Really That Good? Today I am joined again by my good buddy Doc. Doc, show everybody your stethoscope. So,
There you go, buddy. There we go. Yeah, let's go. It's not
Doc and
normally
I
I
also
fail
do
today.
videos for the Authentic Music Hall of Fame. So you can be sure to go back and check those out over on Rich Strickler's channel if you get an opportunity. And also check out some of the videos on my channel here where we were together with Rich doing the Build the Perfect Album series, which I think was a really great success when I went back and looked at those videos. Check them out. They're a little bit of inspiration for some other people out there, and I'm glad that they were able to do something like that. So today we're going to focus again on the good, and we're going to tackle an album that really, honestly, Doc, outside my wheelhouse a little bit. I mean, I've only listened to it twice in my life. Definitely didn't listen to it when it first came out. I was too busy wondering if I was going to get a new tricycle for Christmas. Um, so I mean, I was like just a casual fan of David Bowie. I would only know him, probably from China Girl and Let's Dance, right? When I was a teenager, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I had really zero interest in the artist unless we were talking about that. So, but now we're retackling it again, and I'm kind of glad that I did. I'm talking about David Bowie and the infamous rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. It was maybe serving as a turning point for David Bowie in his career. Ziggy Stardust was released in 1972, which is a monumental year for music if you think about it. If you go back and look at some of the albums that came out, and is largely considered a cornerstone of both glam rock and proto-punk. It's a conceptual album chronicling a fictional character and his rise and fall in the rock and roll industry. The album was ranked 40th all time on the recent Rolling Stones Top 500 Albums of All Time list, and it appears in top 25 of a lot of other lists. I mean, there's a lot of other articles and websites really high on this album. It's also on Robert Dimery's 1001 albums you should listen to before you die, and it was inducted in 2017 into the Library of Congress as an album of historical and cultural significance. The album sold almost to date 8 million copies worldwide. So Doc, as usual, I'll take the last word, but you're a little bit more of an expert on this album, so it's good that you go first.
Well, it's I didn't know that last part that you said. It was inducted into the what was it? The Hall of the
Library of Congress.
Congress, as it should be.
Yes.
That's my take. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this album. I'm a big fan of Bowie. I think this album. I think you in your synopsis there, you kind of summed it up there, and I think this was like a breakout for him in '72, even at '72. But it's an album of like storytelling that really I think just is. Let's face it, it's obscure and lyrically, it can be a mess almost in one sense lyrically, but it makes a whole bunch of sense throughout the whole concept of the album. It's really like almost like a concept storytelling album. You're getting with Ziggy, the character here that David Bowie's into now. And even as you go through the songs, you start off with 5 years, which is, people don't talk about that song enough in Bowie's catalog, man. It's freaking fantastic of a song. And you can see like where you might be going. And this is a roller coaster of a ride of an album. And it goes in so many different ways. It's a glam rock album, or Bowie's glam rock era for sure. I think it's got elements of everything. It's got pop. It's got like some folk. It's you hear saxophone in it. It's Bowie on sax. You hear different elements that you can pull from. It's got like a 50s vibes in some songs. Hang On to Yourself has like a 50s vibe, or even sounds like an old song for '72 as an old song. When this comes out, you're thinking, man, that sounds like it's a 50s song or something. Or it could have been a 50s tune, or just different vibes. And you start off with 5 years and you end with Rock and Roll Suicide. Your openers and enders are pretty freaking solid. That's a pretty good all. And you get Suffragette City, you get Moon Age Daydream, Starman, Lady Stardust, which is just a beautiful song and just underrated. There's rock, there's vibes, there's so much different elements in this. It's Bowie, it's his voice. I had so many notes written down for this on how much I want to say about this album. I just think it's kind of like, it's a masterpiece in my eyes. This is, if you like Bowie, you love this album. And it's not maybe not your favorite Bowie album. It's my favorite Bowie album. I think this is peak Bowie to me. I'm putting in perspective. This would be the top fiver for me all time. So this is really big on my list. Like I said, I don't want to babble on too much about it here, man. But this is a 9.5 for me, man. This is
9.5.
right at the top, man. Yeah.
Wow.
This is peak.
I kind of expected that it was going to be somewhere in the 9 range for you for sure. I knew you always talked about it, like whenever we were talking about like our top, 5, 10 albums of all time. I know this always came up in the conversation with us. And I think that if memory serves, 5 Years was the ones, it may have been a song that we all three had on the 1972
you could be right.
Perfect album.
Yeah.
I think 5 Years, all, you and I and Rich all had that song. I was still just a novice listener at that point. I mean, I knew that song and I knew Starman quite well. So it was going to be one of those two songs I would have picked off the album. I've only listened to it twice before I listened to it this week. And this week alone, I listened to it 4 times.
Right on.
The one time that hit me the best, had the earphones on, traveling downstate with my tennis team, so it's just me and the boys, and I'm listening to it just with the headphones on, unabated. Nobody's interrupting me. No, nothing like that. No one's trying to hold a conversation with me. And it kind of hit me really well then. And this is what happened. I came home and redid the evaluation that I have on all my albums. It went from 258 on my list, still, of all time. That's still reasonable. Went all the way to 62. Whoa. Just after that listen. So that's kind of a big jump for me. I don't know whether it'll climb, but I definitely enjoy this album much more. It's still maybe not my favorite. I think Station to Station might be my favorite. But some of the songs are just, and I'm going to like the songs I think that most people maybe don't. I mean, my favorite song on here is It Ain't Easy. The one written by Ron Davies, a guy who's mostly known for like writing country and Western songs, right? I think both Bowie and the Three Dog Night did versions of this song. I'm not sure who did one first or if they maybe even did it at the same time, but that's my favorite song on here. I just love the pounding chorus in it. It ain't easy. I mean, that's
like a rock song, eh?
Really cool. A really cool song. Way to Inside One. Suffragette City. Next favorite song on there. I mean, I'd love the energy of that song. I think it's incredible. The bookend tracks, obviously, I've got 5 Years and Rock and Roll Suicide. Incredible bookends. Maybe if you start putting albums, start ranking albums for the best bookends, definitely going to be in the conversation now, right? For sure. And obviously, I like Starman, but maybe the weakest track on here, and I don't know what and I say weak, but it's still a good song for me anyway. Is Moon Age Daydream. Maybe that's like the weakest for me, but it's still a really good song. I really enjoyed it. It's really nice to kind of like listen to this album in a whole new way. As a novice kind of person, and really grow to appreciate. I mean, I've listened to, I think when I counted, it was 11 of his albums throughout history. If you go from this album all the way up to Black Star, I think was his album he put out before he passed. Just incredible body of work. I was easily, when I put together a best of David Bowie playlist, I was easily able to come up with 40 songs, and 8 of them are from this album. So that tells you worlds right there. So like always, I'll say, hey, listen, if you'd asked me prior to this week, I'd have probably had like 8.25 easy. I got a 9.25 now. I think it's a substantially powerful record. That's aside from the fact that it's cultural impact and significance. I'm putting that aside. I just enjoy listening to the record. So, and it's nice to listen to it all the way through. And I recommend if you're going to listen to it as a whole. So, totally. I think it'll speak to people more powerfully that way. So, surprise you a little bit that I got it up there. No?
I mean, I didn't know it was going that high, brother. And you're right. Even that tune, it ain't easy. You can see it's reflective lyrics and stuff like that in the song and stuff like that. But you can.
And what I think what helped. I think what helped
company or something like that might have drawn from something like that kind of sound or something, right? So it's a great call, buddy.
I think what helped too is like when I started listening to it like those multiple times, I let that conceptual stuff go, because what happened, you start thinking about that and you're thinking, well, does this really go together? Does this flow
Yeah,
together? If you just let that go and just listen to the album, it's so much better.
that's
Yeah,
a good
you
way
can
to
say,
put it. Yeah,
yeah. I just
that's a
think
good
that
way to
that's the
put it.
best. That's the best way that I enjoyed it anyway. So
I think when I said, is, messed up lyrics and they're kind of all over the place, but it goes to the start. When I started my intro kind of thing, I think that kind of sums it up exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Is it conceptually right? Maybe not in one sense, but when
maybe,
you put it like as a whole,
yeah,
man, yeah, that's pretty good, man.
yeah.
Freaking
I
right.
mean, those conceptual albums, how many of them really are like perfectly on? There's
Perfect.
very few that are great that are perfectly on. You know that as well as I do.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Great score, buddy.
but anyway, that's what we got for this week. I'm also going to be doing a was this album really that awful coming up very soon with my buddy Sam St. John. I think we're going to try to tackle Pink Floyd's Ummagumma, which is a monumental task considering it's a double album, and half of it is live and half of it's a studio. And I've only listened to it 2 times ever in my life, and I did not enjoy them either time. So we'll see if something changes between now and then. So be sure to look for that video as well, probably later in the week. But we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, sub, comment down below, and take care, everyone. See you next time.
Peace out.